Hello peeps, it's the Hillbilly Halfwit. How are you today? I thought we'd do a bit of a chatting video today. Guys, absolutely frozen like you wouldn't believe you today. Our yard is like a skating ring. Uh, won't be much chance of starting machinery today, I don't think. But what I want to talk about today is I saw that they had a demo yesterday again against that the Labour farming guy. And the Welsh farming guy was there. They were giving speeches in Oxford, I think it was, or Cambridge or something like that. And well done to the lads for going outside there protesting against them. Very, very good. Like I always say now, the farmers' protests, they've took that change from originally where they've been subservient to everybody and they're proactive. I'm very, very proud of how everybody's doing it now. I know my original video talking about this way to protest rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, but you've got to be like that. You've got to ruffle some feathers to get anywhere with people like this, because they won't listen otherwise, and they'll only talk on their own terms. Like I told you, like Alistair Campbell said, they only want to talk about a subject on a certain day. If you can make all these, if they want to do some NHS subject on one day, you've got to make them talk about another subject. They don't like that. They absolutely hate it. So, like I always say to everybody involved in this, who's doing their job now, and lots of YouTubers now, thankfully, are doing it as well. I know I upset a few of them originally by chirping up, but they're doing their thing now. And fair play to them all. They are all of them doing the same thing. I think they've realised that they were being used a bit by the farming media, I think, at last, because they have been. We've all been. So, but there we are. That's that little bit today. Like I said, very well done to everybody who's doing these tractor runs and protests. I'm really proud of you indeed. You're not breaking a law and you're winding these people up. You're really getting to them now. I don't know, is it going to change a huge amount in the long run? But the public are on our side, and I've got 11,000 people here. They're all of you people. I'm really impressed by how the comments off you people are. Like I say, lots of people with bigger channels don't go through it all. I go through every single comment, and you're all common sense. It's just common sense what you come up with on there. I very rarely have a comment that I think, oh, that's a bit close to the bone, because everybody is just a normal person. Nobody fanatics or nothing. But what I wanted to talk about today is lots of people really don't understand farming. Now, I don't just mean the farming side of things. I mean what happens in an area. Like the subsidies the farmers get don't just go to the farmer. The people rely on that farm, or the farms in areas. Like a mate of mine is a hedger and a fencer, and he works 4 farms doing sheep and different various things. And he relies on all his work off the farm, off farmers, and then the subsidy that they're paid, or the grant they get to do this thing for X or Y, pays him and keeps him and his little family going. I have friends who make farm buildings. Same with them. They have X grant to do whatever, to if they want to make the farm a bit better for, these winter conditions, if they want to do something like that. Grant, or the subsidy that the farmer gets goes to them. Keep their families going. Then you've got the contractors of all types, of shearing contractors. The wool no longer pays for that, and if you've got a largish farm, that comes out of it. And everything really, even to like the cake I feed to the sheep it all comes from the farm supplies. Like most of my money goes to a farm supplies or things like that. I don't hardly see much of it myself because you've got to keep your stock alive, and then when you go uh, nearer the summer, you've got to make your grass grow so you can get a crop to feed now. Lots of people don't understand that if you don't have a harvest there to as backup to feed things, because things like this happen, and there's no grass that the sheep can eat. All farms are different in the way they do things, but farm supplies are there, and for everything, for all your animals, it keeps them and people employed, it keeps them businesses going. Then you've got the fencing and things like that. You've got to have the stakes, so the timber companies that my mate works for, and I used to work for, you cut stakes. Them forestry harvesters cut them stakes and things like that. So the whole of the countryside works together really without sort of knowing. And you've got the forestry that's not the forestry contractors, and you've got the farming contractors bailing and doing everything on farm when people that haven't got tractors or they're a bit older. And lots of people use contractors all the time for various reasons. And I just tend to rather try and do it all myself. I know it's finding harder these years with my eyesight problems, but that's what it is. I'm not a very big farm, let's be honest. But the whole of the countryside is totally misunderstood by people. And I'm not saying you lot watching at all. I'm just saying by people who make the decisions. They really don't understand that if you give an area's farmers a certain amount of money, that area basically runs on that. All the shops, everything. They do not understand. And when they decide to give billions, in Wales's case, 4.8 billion to climate funds, and they give it to these organisations, none of that money comes back to that area. Because they don't, let's be really honest about this, they don't employ local people. And any profit or anything goes back to that big investor. That is what it's all about. It's all about taking money from the countryside. That's what it's all about. It's a class war. I've been saying this for years. Finally, people are waking up to it. It's a class war thing. It's like the funding in Wales. I know I say this a lot, but I do like to point this out. All of the farming, subsidies and everything in Wales costs 330 million in total. So that's all it costs in Wales for all the farmers. Of course, some farmers are overpaid, and I think that could easily be sorted out by having a cap on the amount of farmers, large farms, and these climate organisations and should be allowed to have. They should have a cap. Personally, that's what I think. But like, why should an organisation that's having a huge grant to plant trees or whatever, and they're making some huge dividend on it for their shareholders, also have for this grant? There should be a cap on the amount they should have. It's not right, really. But, I can see both sides of it. I've worked out it myself and worked away from the farm most of my life until the last decade or so. And I've seen, the hard work and hard things you go through in normal life that normal people do. So I've seen both sides of it, and I got to say, lots of farmers haven't had that. And when you've got to go to work for somebody and got to be there at a certain time in the morning and do your certain amount, or you don't get paid, sort of thing, it's surprising how much that changes you. I've got to say, these days I'm not like that. I'm not going to lie. But I think the countryside is totally misunderstood, but people are going to university. And I think what has happened, these people have gone to university for the last 20 years and come out of university with some really daft ideas, because they're just, I say this all the time, they're just protesters, really. And they don't really know how the countryside works at all. And then they've pushed themselves into positions of power. And that's who we've got running the UK at the moment. People have no idea how it all works. So most of the money gets shoveled towards some civil service quangos, especially in Wales, and they just spaff it up the wall because they're not accountable to anybody. And most people in everyday life realise if you haven't got the money, you can't spend it. So you just cannot keep borrowing. You cannot keep borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and think you're going to pay it back, because you only have so much income. And that's what's happening with the civil service. They're just borrowing and borrowing and spaffing it up the wall on this climate nonsense. This net zero is going to destroy our country because they want to deindustrialize our country. That's what they want to do. And to deindustrialize our country means no profit. It's as simple as that. Because we're going to be buying stuff from other countries, not selling. That is what it's all about. Now, all these campaigners, they're politically motivated. They don't care what happens. Most of them are commies. And like I said, people are starting to wake up to this stuff at last. We got a load of commies in charge in the civil service, and they're basically doing what they want and stopping elected parties do what they want, especially since 2016. And thankfully, I gotta say, Tinternet is a good and a bad thing, and it's nice that you can connect with people and tell them what you actually think. That's what I like it. And people can get your truth out there, and especially farmers are starting to get a voice at last, moving above the leadership of the NFU. Because I do have a go at them every now and then. Like I say, I don't mean the people lower down, I mean the people higher up. Like I said, lots of these people have moved into organisations to try and control the organisation, as they have in the civil service. And basically the top of the farmers' union is like a civil service. They are trying to force us to do stuff that we don't want to do. So I think, like I say, you need a real hardball person at the top of the farmers' union. Somebody who's going to go in there and say, look here, cocky, we ain't having that, and that is it. As blunt as that. Don't go explaining no more. You need somebody who's going to go in there and create havoc. Because we're a walkover now. The farmers' union leadership is a walkover. Because the farming press are working all against the farmers as well. Because they're running top of the echelons of that, a civil service. And they don't understand the countryside. It's all a big thing with it. The money that goes into the countryside is spent in the countryside. It doesn't go anywhere else in that area. And like I mentioned before, all the contractors of various kinds and all sorts. And the doctors' surgeries and the shops, everything, pubs, everything relies on that money. And as soon as that tap switches off, which is only 330 million in Wales, is nothing. Absolutely nothing. They gave more than that to one country abroad. And it ends up in feeding people. Like I said, I still walk around thinking, how can these people be so stupid? it'd be easy to sort a system out. Very easy to do a capping system out where things aren't wasted. You know, obviously there's big farms. This is what I think has been the problem over the years. There is big farms that have been spaffing money away on brand new machinery all the time as tax avoidance, and people are getting pissed off with that because they drive by in their little car, barely trying to make a living. I think that's what the cause of it all is. And if there was a capping on the amount certain farmers or organisations could have, that wouldn't have happened. But they won't do that because the only people deciding these things are mostly the ones that own the big ground. That is a fact. That's a fact. So there we are. That's my little talk for today. Like I said, people just need to remember that the countryside works as a big thing, as like one big organism, not organisation, and we all work together. So well done to everybody keeping protesting. I'm still going, yeah, putting my videos out. Hope you all like them. I know some people don't, but I can still kick in. And thank you all for watching. And I might do a funny one later on. I thought of a funny forestry one, so we might do one of them after. So please go down there, subscribe, like and share. Let's get this channel a bit bigger if we can. All the best, Gaz.